Greetings, Mythics. How are we all? Yes, it is me. I'm back. Once again, Edra Tales Twitch channel. My name is Ken Boyter. This is Snook of the Bottled Imp. What is the Bottled Imp, I hear you say? Well, the Bottled Imp, it's not a cushion. It is a YouTube channel. Go over to the Bottled Imp YouTube channel where we have over 450 fancy board game reviews, fancy film reviews, and fancy book reviews. Not each of those are 450, that's a combined total. Plus there are other episodes that we've thrown in there for good measure. Talking of YouTube though, we do have an Edra Tales YouTube channel. So if you miss any of these live streams on Twitch, I will export them over there because that's where they live. That's their home, their permanent home. That's their forever home, as the kids say these days. So if you do want to catch up on any of these live streams, go over to the Edra Tales Twitch channel. Plus, we have an Edra Tales Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook, obviously, if you're on Facebook, and you search for Edra Tales, you should see the group. There is a page, but the page isn't particularly active, but the group is active. So, hello, Martha. Sneaks up and tickles Ken. Oh, yes, welcome back, Martha. Hopefully you're feeling better. Good to hear from you. And also, we do have an Edra Tales website. So that's edratales.com. So if you go to edratales.com, basically if you type in Edra Tales, you should come up with all the things that you want to join, if you want to join. And if you do want to follow or subscribe any of those channels, please do so, because it all helps with the algorithms, apparently. Yes, because the last person that followed this channel was Smile Tolerantly. Oh, I couldn't read that the other day. Smile Tolerantly. Good morning, Spellsing. How are you? Pop Pneumodits. Saturday mornings. Is that, what's that? Pop Pneumolts. What's that? Pop Pneumolts? Is that from Saturday TV years ago? Pop Pneumolts Saturday morning that can only mean one thing. Cracker Jack. No, not Cracker Jack. Does anybody remember Cracker Jack? Good evening from Leerin. Hello. I've got a bit of a cough, by the way. It's one of those coughs that keeps you awake. I had it about 4 weeks ago and then got rid of it. I gave it away and then I've got it back again. So it's really annoying. But I do have honey tea. I do have honey tea, which should help. So how is everybody? How are you, Leerin? Are you good? Are you good? I'm in a very kind of chilled out, relaxed mood. And I think that's to do with the fact that I'm in between projects, if you know what I mean. Uncle Jack, no Steeplejack, no Cracker Jack. There it is. I thought Spellsing. I thought you were the right age for Cracker Jack. Cracker Jack was great. That ran for over 10 years, I think, wasn't it? It started in black and white. And I remember watching it as a kid in the 70s, so that would have been like mid-70s. So it probably ran for like 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. So there you go. Yeah, I feel very relaxed. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my black and white. Oh god. Yeah, I think it was. I might be making that up, but I think I've seen clips of like old black and white Cracker Jack. My era was really Stu Francis, or the guy before Stu Francis, I can't remember his name, for a little bit, and then Stu Francis took over. And he was the guy that was going, oh, I could crush a grape. I could test drive a Tonka. And obviously you got the Crankies. You got the little Crankies. Well, one of them was little. So those of you that don't know, by the way, Cracker Jack was a beloved kids program in the UK that ran, I think, from like the 60s to like the 80s, mid-80s, maybe even early 90s. Leaving put, apologies if I won't be too loquacious today. Nice. Witness my uncle, oh no, have a rather heavy conversation over Skype with my cousin. Just want to relax and calm down a bit with some warm, friendly, familiar faces. You chill out. Leaving. Sorry to hear whatever that is, but yeah, just take it in, relax. And sorry, I'm not laughing at that. I read the next comment from Jonathan. Good morning, Jonathan. Ooh, I could wrestle an action man. That was a phrase that this presenter used to say. Ooh, I could jump over a doll's house. I forgot that one. But yeah, it was test, because I remember, yeah, ooh, I could test drive a Tonka car, which was a little dinky car, little kid's car. Discovering that, discovering that the Crankies were a man and wife still haunts me today, yeah. Oops, not Skype, I meant WhatsApp. Oh, that's alright. I'm sure they won't sue. So yeah, so just laugh along, Lee Rin. Just take your mind off things. Yes, the Crankies. So the Crankies were, for those of you that don't know, the Crankies were a comedy double act that was meant to be, I think that was his father. It was meant to be a father and son. And it was played by Ian and Jeanette Cranky. So the boy, who we thought was Jimmy Cranky, was actually a woman called Jeanette Cranky. I'm sure that was their names. And they were actually husband and wife. I bumped into the Crankies. Here we go, says Jonathan, in a hotel car park once, but there was no lingering smell of leopard. Well, I don't know if I get that. Am I meant to get that? Do I want to get that? No smell of leopard. Did they wrestle leopards then? What was all that about? I don't really remember their act too much. That the boy used to just, be cheeky and get up to high jinks, and then Ian Cranky, the dad, used to try and control his kid. That's what I thought the actual act was. I don't get your comment, Jonathan. What I will say is I have actually read their autobiography or their biography. I always forget which one it is. If you've written it yourself, is it a biography? I think it's a biography. If someone else has written it, it's an autobiography. Or the other way around. It's too upsetting to dwell on. Well, this might upset you even more, Spelsing, if you don't know this about the Crankies. So they were kids TV, performers. And they had a massive career in the 80s, probably early 90s. And also, though, they started out doing musical. They were a variety act. So when they first started out, they had lots of different, they had like an hour and a half show. They had lots of different things they did. They did tap dancing, singing, other comedy sketches. And then the Ian and Jimmy Cranky, that little schoolboy sketch was just a 5-minute sketch in a big hour and a half show. But that's the one that took off. Yes, there you go. Oh, is that what it was? Okay, I didn't know about the leopard tamer, but I was going to say, yeah, I read their autobiography, and they were swingers. They were swingers. Variety, like Charlie Chaplin's Vaudeville. Yes, like Charlie Chaplin's Vaudeville. Yeah, absolutely, Levin. Yeah, because it was very popular, from, I guess, the 1920s all the way up to the sort of 50s, I think. Now, there's a creative project for you. Spelsings put swingers. God, it gets worse. And yeah, I read their biography, and they I need to bathe in holy water, and they I think we all do, and they admit to being swingers. However, I'm just going to give them a little bit of, put it in context. They said they tried it a couple of times and they didn't really enjoy it, so they never really did it again. So if we're to believe them, then yeah, that they tried it and it wasn't really their cup of tea, so they didn't do it again. And I kind of could believe that, because you might get caught up in that sort of thing and then go, actually, this is horrible. But they also bought a nice yacht. They bought a nice yacht, and they used to like going sailing as well. So there you go. There's for balance. But yeah, I wrote... I was going to write a play. This was back in the day. About a father and son, not the Crankies. who I always was quite fascinated by the Sorry. Do you remember the TV show Sorry? Sorry, well, we're talking about British TV, and if you've never seen it, then you're a bit excluded. But anyway, Sorry was a TV show in the UK about a 40-year-old that still lived with his parents, and he never could quite leave home because his mum was very good at manipulating him and making him feel sorry. You know, for her, like she was going, "Oh, you're going to leave me," you know, because he lived with his mum and dad, and she was a very dominating individual. And so she always lured him back in. She didn't want him to leave. And she was always unkind about any girlfriends he had and all of that. And it was that sort of wrestle between, no, Mum, I want to go out and live my own life. And like, no, you're Mama's boy. So it was a very good comedy. And I've always been fascinated by that concept. So I like comedy. So I read lots of autobiographies of comedians at the time. I read Benny Hill's autobiography, and so I happened to read The Crankies because I wanted to read a lot of comedians because I wanted to put it in a play about a father and son that live in the last manned lighthouse. And that the father wants the son to carry on, you know, manning the lighthouse, and the son doesn't want to do it. So there's that dynamic of, I want to go off and do my own thing, but the father wants him to carry on the family tradition. But the father's gone into a bit of a mental recess, you know, he's gone backwards a little bit. Because he just spends all his time watching old comedies. And so, you know, the only way that they can really have a relationship, they don't talk about feelings, they just talk about comedy. They talk about various different comedians. So I thought that was an interesting concept. But I've never written it, so there we go. Anyway, how do we start talking about about the swinging? Anyway, welcome. If you've never watched this before, this is meant to be about creativity. It's meant to be about your creative projects. It's meant to be about my creative projects. And also, just to let you know, Wednesday evening, 7 p.m, we do a live stream of game books. And we've done Jonathan's game books in the past, Ace game books. Just to give Jonathan a plug. Oh yeah, look, we did this one here, Alice's Nightmare in Wonderland, which was really cool. It's basically the story of Alice in Wonderland, but with a twist, with some really cool illustrations. And yeah, it's a bit steampunky as well, which I like the twist of that. Look at that. It's steampunky. And his latest one, Shakespeare versus Cthulhu. This one's just come out, actually. So if you do want to check out any of Jonathan's books, go to jonathangreenauthor.com or acegamebooks.com. Next project for Ken. What? Doing a Crankies board game. Or Jonathan, you should do a Crankies game book. So we did finish Sorcery Part 1, Steve Jackson's Sorcery Part 1, part of the Fighting Fantasy series. We are now cracking into Sorcery Part 2, which is Nair, City Port of Traps. City Port of Traps. So we're going to do this one 7 p.m. UK time this Wednesday, so very excited about that. And got some very exciting news about To Kill a Thief. Everything has been ordered. Everything. I don't have to do anything else apart from collate it all and then send it out to you. But everything has been ordered. The dice have been ordered. The metal prints have been ordered. The what else? What other rewards were there? The bookmarks. I've already got the bookmarks. Oh, the enamel badge. That's been ordered. And the proof copy of the paperback and the proof copy of the hardback have been ordered from the printer. So I'm expecting the paperback to arrive, or one of them to arrive on the 27th. And then one of them to arrive, I think, the 2nd of February. Oh, Martha's put, sorry to type with a cat in my lap. Oh, that is the perfect excuse. You are forgiven. If you're in trouble with anybody, just say, sorry, cat was on my lap. You know, if you're late for anything, you just go, yeah, really sorry, but the cat wanted to sleep on my lap. Everybody understands that. Nobody stands up. Nobody gets rid of a cat that's on their lap. Hello, Kitty. What's your cat called, Martha? Oh, you've got a cat now, haven't you? This is big news. You've got a cat. That's great news, because you were talking of getting a cat. What's your cat called? Frodo. I'd call mine Frodo or Bilbo. Yeah, so everything has been ordered. I'm waiting now for all the rewards to come, the book to come. And then when I get the proof copies from the printers of both the paperback and the hardback book of To Kill a Thief, I will then, if you know, look at it all. If there's no mistakes in it, I will then send them off and get the actual the backers copies for you. I also do need to. Have I asked everybody? I don't think I have yet. I need to show you the backers' names in the back of the book. You haven't had an email from me, have you, saying, please check your name, you know, tell me what you want your name to be at the back of the book. Oh, Martha's put, oh, it's not mine, cat sitting. Oh, well, that's still lovely, though. He is an old gentleman of 16 years. Oh. Does he smoke a pipe? I don't think I've asked people that yet, have I? That's what I need to do next. So I'll do that today if I've not already done it. Or if I have done it, I'll do a reminder. And then I'll send it off and we'll get the books back. So I'm hoping... No, you haven't asked me yet. Okay, cool. I will do that today. And I will send it as an update... No, I won't. I'll have to send it as a members only because I don't want to do it for public because you might not, you know, that's not for public consumption just yet. So you should get it via Kickstarter. Hopefully it will push it into your emails. So check it out on Kickstarter. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get everything sent out mid-February, you know, well, in February, basically. So you should get it towards the end of February, early March. And I do apologise again. It's taken a long time. But I totally underestimated how long it was going to take me to write the book and to do everything. So lesson learned. Lesson learned. So for the next one, as I keep saying, it won't be a 100,000 word game book. It's 456 individual pages. So that's 220 something other pages. So it's probably the size of your one, Jonathan, I reckon. Yeah, yours is 376, 77, 78. It was 378, so it's going to be slightly bigger. I'm not boasting here, Jonathan. I'm just doing that as a... So I mean, I'm curious to see how thick it's going to be. So it's probably going to be slightly thicker than Jonathan's, but value for money. However, I'm not going to write as much as that for the next game book. You know, the next big game book that I'm going to do. And I'll probably do another Kickstarter. It might not be October because that's when Essen, the board game convention, is. And I might be going back to Spiel Essen again. I haven't been asked yet by the publisher, but they might just, you know, want me back there. Will message you my name as I wish to appear via Facebook Messenger. Wish it to appear via Facebook Messenger later. More expedient. Okay. The problem is, well, yes, okay, but the problem is if people send it to me different ways, then I might overlook that. Whereas if you reply to me via an email and it all comes in one place, then I know I can tick your name off the list. But, you know, if you're going to do that, I guess I can't stop you. But what I'll do though is I will send it out to you because it might be what you want anyway. Okay, email also. Yeah, just because Well, let me think this through though, Lirin, first, because I don't know if you can reply to that email. Here we go. I messaged you on Facebook. But it's easier though if you all email me my actual email address. And I am expecting parcels today, so there's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. Is it? Come on, jailer, let me out. I've got a parcel. Got a parcel. Hello. Cheers. Thanks a lot. That's okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Oh, I know what these are. We've got a big present. Big present. Just take the address off. Just take the address off. Bear with me. Right, I know what these are. Look at the size of this. I know what these are. So, Martha's off to the gaming club. Yeah, yeah. Dungeons. We do get deliveries now. It's not all bad. Well, back in was it medieval times? At some point in history in England, you could send presents. Well, you still can, I think. Presents to prisoners. So, don't know what that is. That's some sort of magical invisible receipt. This is a Kickstarter reward, everybody. Do you want to see it? Do you want spoilers? Do you want spoilers? These are the metal prints. These are the metal prints. Look how big these are. That's beautiful. Oh my god, that's amazing. Do you want spoilers? Do you want to see these? There's only 2 people. Wow, these are great. Yes, please. Any joy, no matter how little, is treasure and sad time. Frickin' yeah. So, these are metal prints that, look, you can put on the wall. And I did actually buy myself one as well, out of my own money, by the way. Yeah, are you sure? You sure, Martha? Are you gone, Martha, or do you want to see this? Here we go then. All right. I'm very excited. I wasn't really going to show Kickstarter rewards because I wanted you to experience it when you open it. However, these are fantastic. Here we go. If you don't want to look at what this is, look away now. Here we go. You ready? There it is. There it is. These are great. Look at that. It's the Devilish Death to Kill a Thief front cover. And I'm just double checking the spelling. Too late for that now. Look at that. You hear that? Awesome. Huzzah. It looks really good, doesn't it? It looks really good. So if you backed the Kickstarter where you get one of these, I actually went for a bigger size. I went for a bigger size because the Kickstarter fund could cover it, and I think the previous size was something like that, was half size. And I thought, you know what, let's, you know, because it's taken such a long time, we'll up the size of it. So that looks amazing, doesn't it? Let's see if we can get this as the thumbnail. Although people might not want it spoiled, to be honest, yeah. But yeah, look at that. They've done a really good job. Really good job. Now, I believe the company is a company called Contour, but because they've not put any literature in the box, I can't confirm that. So there you go. These bags, apparently, in case you're wondering, are biodegradable. That's what they claim. So how cool it immortalised, yeah. How cool is that? I'm very impressed. Very impressed. And it's interesting with the cover because with the cover, this is just a little bit behind the scenes if you want to know. I don't know how interesting it is. So when I originally did the cover, so I did it all in Photoshop and built up the layers, yeah. And I didn't really know what size book I was going to do the final book. So when I did this cover, I did it A4 size, yeah, which is this size, because I knew I was going to do a sample. So, but when I did the cover, luckily the book is roughly Jonathan's size, actually. So it's, you know, it is roughly that size anyway. However, with this, with the spine though, you don't know how thick the spine's going to be unless you know how many pages it's going to be. And then they tell you about the spine. So for the paperback, it was something like, what was it? I think it was something like 30 millimeters across. And then the hardback was even wider. I think that was 32. So I had to slice it down here in Photoshop and then extend that spine. So I had to carry on with the blues and the water. So luckily the design of this, I could do that. You know, luckily, oh no, his arm does go over a little bit of the spine actually. But I had to extend this bit because I didn't want this to be in the spine. And then when so I did that for the book. Then when I did the print, it had to be extended. So I had to do more work, not this side, but this side. So I had to do more work along here. So, if you look here, I don't know how interesting this is, but if you look here, that's the end of the side there. And can you see by the lamp, I actually put black outline around that bit. Yeah, where I didn't on here. So I had to extend it. There you go. To make this fit this size. But I'm really impressed with the quality. And yeah, and this bit here, the water, this bit here. So what I did was, there's a little tool in Photoshop called clone. And therefore what you do is you can place a point where you want to be cloned and then just clone it across. So that's how I did that. Very happy with these. Very happy with these. Whew. Isn't it a big relief when something actually pans out the way you want it to pan out? So there we go. So yeah, I'm over the moon with those. I have also, so the next thing I'm going to do, and my brain needs a little bit of a rest. This is what I'm saying. I'm in between projects, kind of. Because the next project is the collab book that that Jam and myself have promised each backer. So if you backed my project and also Jam's project, you get a free ebook of a little mini quest from me and a mini quest from Jam. And this one is called the Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. And I've planned it all out. I know the plot. I've planned it all out. So on Monday, because I don't know if I could be able to. I need a rest, I think, from this sort of stuff. So on Monday, I'm going to start writing the free ebook, Now, the good news about that is Troy from Savage Realms has promised to publish both Jam's book and my book as a paperback for the Savage Realms world. Well, the Savage Realms, not the actual universe that they use, but just their side stories. But it's coming out on the Savage Realms imprint, or publishing name, I should say, which is really exciting. So, if you did back the project, mine and Jam's, hello Jam, good to see you, sir. I was just talking about my collaboration one with you, where your backers will get this and my backers will get these. I've planned it all out. The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye, and I'm going to start writing it Monday. It's 130 entries. No, a little bit more than that. No, 130 entries. It's not going to be as big as that. So the good thing about it is that Troy from Savage Realms, he's going to publish it. He's published Jam's one already. If you back both projects, you're going to get an ebook and you're going to get a free paperback. But then if you do want to read this one as well, and well as Jam's one, then they'll be available to purchase. Mine's just finished. Its final edit and illustrators has begun. Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's good. So I'm still behind you. But hopefully I can catch up with you and they're not going to be too far behind in publication. So Jam, I don't know if you saw, but I've got all the rewards have been sent out for and designed. I'm waiting for them to come back live on air while I've been live streaming. The metal print. The metal print. So if anybody backs this at this level, that's the metal print of the book cover. Looks really good. Looks really good. So there you go. There you go, Jam. Have a look at that. So I think these are really cool. I really like these. Yeah. So that I think, I don't know, I'm biased, but I think that was a really good reward. So there we are. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Jam. Yeah. It looks really good. I was just explaining how I had to, in Photoshop, just increase the actual illustration on this side and on the top as well. And this is the thing that people don't see. And why should they? Because they don't really necessarily know how it all works. But it wasn't just a case of uploading the cover. I had to do extra work for it. Oh yeah, Sally's here as well. Morning. Better than a papery one. Yeah, exactly. Yes, look at that, Sally. They've arrived. The metal ones. So, very happy with these. The size is amazing. You know, bigger than A4. In fact, this might be A3. It's just slightly smaller than A3. So, yeah, it's come out really well. It's come out, the image is sharp. Oh, Grockle Snook's down for the count. He's having a little snooze. Looks great. Oh, thank you, Sally. Yeah, very happy with these. Very happy with these. Love a bit of metal. Exactly. Well, it does feel very substantial, and they're really cool. You know, if you've got one of these up in your room, in your bedroom, you can put it over your bed if you want, so that your husband or wife can appreciate it as well. Imagine that. Imagine that. So there we go. So yes, so Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye, I'm going to start writing Monday. I might start writing it tomorrow, but I'm probably going to write it Monday because I need a little bit of a break from all of this madness. However, I have been... it's interesting, isn't it, creativity? What your brain can cope with at certain times. Like, I'm not sure it's ready to write another game book yet, but it will be on Monday. I'm just sort of prepping myself, priming myself to go, yeah, Monday you're going to do it. However, what I have been doing is making notes on A Christmas Carol for my game book. Not my game book, my board game, Christmas Carol. Better than a missus. A Christmas Carol, because I want to convert that into a board game. And I've already come up with lots of ideas of what I could do. You know, have character cards that you can befriend. It's a worker placement game. And, you know, I kind of know roughly what you're going to do. And then it's getting the ideas into a physical game. Coming up with the rules, shaping the rules. You know, what do players do on their turn? What do they do? How do they earn points? Or, you know, is it money they're after? Is it virtue they're after? You know, because it's Christmas Carol. Can you be corrupted? All of that. And so I've kind of got I kind of know what the game is, but it's now converting it into a game. It's getting the board ready. It's going, okay, if we're going to have character cards, well, which characters are you going to have as the character cards? And I knew that I needed to read the book. You needed to read the book. I've read the book about, I'd say 10 years ago was the last time I read Christmas Carol. I watched the film. Yeah, normally the Muppets Christmas Carol I watch every year, plus another version, a more, you know, like proper version. Christmas Carol is a proper version, it's the only version. By the way, the Jim Carrey version, where he did the voiceover, is very, very good. It's very good. I was surprised. I watched it for the first time last year, and I was very surprised. Not as in, but 2024 I watched it. So if you've not seen that version, go check out that version. Watch a Box of Delights every Christmas. I've got a feeling I only watched a couple of episodes of that as a kid, and I missed the rest of it. So I do need to watch a Box of Delights. Yeah, that's very magical, isn't it? Talking of that, if you like Box of Delights, Jonathan has done a Box of Delights role-playing game, RPG, a TT RPG, tabletop role-playing game. So, you know, if you're into role-playing games and you're into Box of Delights. So what I decided to do was reread Christmas Carol and then make my notes. So I've got, 11 pages of double-sided notes. I'm just showing off how many notes I can make. Look at me making notes. But I wanted to get under the skin of A Christmas Carol, if that makes sense. And it's such a good book. It's so well written. It's beautiful. It's very descriptive, as you can imagine. And there's little treats, like what I didn't realise is that it's set in Camden Town, or bits of it. Tiny Tim, Bob Cratchit, live in Camden Town in London. And the Scrooge's counting house, his offices, are actually in a place called Cornhill. That presumably back then, it maybe even now, was a sort of financial area of London. So I was like, oh, I didn't think that Charles Dickens had an actual named places in the book. So that makes it different. So what my thinking is have a board of London, but now I can actually route some of it in Camden Town, and I want to then look to see where this Cornhill is. So I saw that by Mr. Green. Shall purchase soon. Oh, there you go. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Jonathan. Oh. Jonathan has done some excellent writing over the years, haven't you, Jonathan? Wake up. Yeah, so it's just interesting. And also how I wanted to know how many, so I've written down locations, characters, also any commodities, because he's a commodity broker or buyer and seller. So I've written down some real gems in here that you go, oh, okay, I didn't know that. What else have I put? Yeah, and just how many different locations there are. And so as I was writing my notes as well, I started coming up with new ideas for the game. I was like, oh yeah, you could do this. You could do that. You could do this. Yeah. So as Julian, I don't know where Julian is today. Good morning, Julian. He mentioned about maybe having scenarios that the players do, and depending on what you do, like on the Ghost of Christmas Past, that would affect your future rounds. And I thought, oh, that's actually quite a good idea. So as I read this, I put, you could have flashback cards that players get at random. And then these cards tell players past. You might get three or four cards each with a different scene that reflect the vibes of the Scrooge's past. So you can't copy Scrooge because you're not Scrooge. In the game, you don't play Scrooge. And it says these cards will have an effect, either rewards or punishment if the players, depending on if they meet the requirements, to gain the rewards, to have changed their behaviour like the ghost wants. So it might be that, it says for this one you have to give, because I'm going to have carol singing spaces on the map as well, where carol singers are singing. And to gain virtue points, you are going. If you go to a carol singing space, you put one of your workers, one of your, pieces onto there, you'll gain virtuous points. But that could also be a requirement of this card. It might say, put 3 workers on 3 carol spaces, and then you gain that reward of what that card is, because it's your past actions. Because Scrooge sort of says, "Oh, I wish I'd given that carol singer, something." He starts to regret his actions. So, obviously, if you fulfil that requirement, then you will get that reward in the future. So, Professor Green in the study with the quill and the rum. Liren has put it. An antidote of idealism and redemption after a decade of cynical tabletop games like Exploding Kidding and Cards Against Humanity. Yeah, there are a lot of cozy games out there though, Lirin, but yes, there's also a lot of kind of cynical games as well. And that's the great thing about board games, is there is a range for everybody. Just trying to think. There's lots of games about animals and nurturing animals and things like that. Building zoos as well is a popular theme. So yeah, but I know what you mean. Some games can be considered cynical, yeah. So, well, the way that I want people to play this game is I want them to have those moral dilemmas. So I'm going to have it where you can win. I'm going to have a corruption track and a virtual track. And I'm going to have it where you can win the game even if you're in the corrupt side of it and you've not learnt the lessons from Scrooge, like the Christmas Carol. However, those conditions to win are going to be much harder. Okay, so you'll need to achieve more in order to win. But you can also win via the virtuous track if you do, change your ways and you give to charity and you do lots of different things, that are kind. And those winning conditions are going to be easier. So I'm kind of basically giving people a choice, because I do think things are free will in life. And but if you go down the virtuous route, it's going to be easier for you to win. But if you don't want to play that way and you want to go down the corrupt route, yeah, it's going to be harder. It's not going to be as easy. Because in a way, spiritually, you can't force someone to be good. Because if I'm sort of, if I'm taking you hostage to make you good, then I'm bad because I've taken you hostage. I'm cutting out your free will. If you see what I mean. So I want to give the player that freedom. It's the same when I play Skyrim. You play Skyrim and I can't remember which one it was, but there was a dilemma that was like that. It was a woman that was being chased, across borders into Skyrim, and she says, "Oh yeah, I'm being hunted by these robbers that want, that want to kill me." And you go, oh, and she goes, "Yeah, they're hanging out in a cave or whatever." And you go, "All right, well, I'll go and sort them out." And you go and sort them out, and they say, "No, she's a criminal that's wanted in, the next realm along." And so you go, "Oh, is that right? Am I helping am I helping a robber, or am I helping the police in effect, So you can, and again, it's like, oh, I don't know who to believe now. So I just remember that you can go down, you can be good or you can be evil. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, basically. But yes, the big message of A Christmas Carol is redemption, isn't it? And also, something that's maybe subtler to take away from Christmas Carol is he was a miser, which is an interesting concept because his view of people was, well, look, if they just do what I do and they don't spend money on frivolous things, they just keep hold of their money, then they'll be wealthy as well. So, when the description of his house, he rents, he doesn't own his house, he rents a suite of rooms in a sort of dilapidated house. The other rooms aren't residential, they're businesses. And he never lights, loads of candles. He never puts too much coal on the fire. He lives very frugally. So it's not like he's living it up, spending all his cash and then laughing at the poor people. He's saying, I was just very careful with money and I didn't spend it on parties and I didn't spend it on food that I didn't need and I didn't spend it on Christmas presents. I didn't waste money. And therefore he's angry that other people don't do the same, and therefore he doesn't have any sympathy because he thinks if you just save money, then you'll be comfortably off. But of course that's not the case because some people don't earn enough money to save. They have to spend everything in order to get by, in order to pay the rent or pay their mortgage and then, buy food, heating, all of that. So they might not have anything left, so they can't save. So that's also the reason why that transformation where he starts buying stuff, doesn't he? He buys the turkey, the goose, and he starts buying and he gives Bob Cratchit a pay rise and he starts spending his wealth for goods. So, yeah, so it's really an interesting book. It's very layered. And there was also a scene that I don't remember at all, that's not often done in the books. Leerin's put here, the older I get, I notice more to gravitate to sentimental, sweet and warm, heated works over the action, martial arts, horror I used to salivate over. I fear this is loss of edge may mark me immature, but there is so much sadness in the world that it feels so morbid and, yeah, more of it to your mind with the time you have left. Sorry, this is not something I can share with the cynical real-life family. No, absolutely. I kind of agree. I've never really watched horror. I like action films. But I think you have to, in your mind, when you're watching a bit of martial arts or horror film or anything like that, that yes, there is real life horror, there is real life. Sally's, but I agree, Lierin, I don't think I ever been edgy. No, Sally, I can confirm that. But I do think you can still enjoy that sort of thing, but it's normally as a reflection. So when, let's take, I guess, Skyrim, Lord of the Rings, they don't shy away from the fact that bad things happen, that horrible things happen, but it's how you react to it. And so it's kind of a reflection of the world. And I do think, yeah, it's very difficult if you watch the news and you take on board things. You can take it on and it kind of can get you down. And really that's not good for your soul. And I stopped reading newspapers years ago, like when I was in my teens. I was like, this is all just depressing. So I stopped reading it. I look at the headlines, but I don't watch the news. So I kind of roughly know what's going on. But if you think back, when we didn't have all this mass communication, you lived in a village or even in a town, you wouldn't know what's going on in the next town or the next town over. Certainly you wouldn't know what was going on in a different country. So is it too much for our human souls to bear? Taking on all that other stuff, because there's nothing you can really do about it unless you campaign, unless you actually actively do something about it. But thinking back, haggling with the 80s Eagle Lord cynical crowd in university after leaving high school to look grown up, on reflection that was immature and actually performative maturity rather than real maturity. Yeah, absolutely. But I think everybody does that, Lerin. Peer pressure, wanting to fit in. And I think as you get older, that becomes less and less important. I've never really fitted in, to be honest, and I've never really wanted to. I have wanted to fit in, but I realised, but that's not me. I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to do creative stuff. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So I still enjoy kind of, real world stuff as long as it's reflected well in the work. It's difficult to describe that, but it's not like I'm entertained. Like when I watch Schindler's List, are you entertained by a film like Schindler's List? Yes and no, because but it's a reminder of what happened in the real world, and it's good to reflect on that every now and again, but not take it on board, if you see what I mean. You fit in with us again. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. Yes, exactly. We've grown the Edralites, the Edra Tales, the Mythics, absolutely. Final goal, says Leroy, family of mine or not, I'm aiming to be a crazy cat dude. Cats are where they're at. Cats are definitely where they're at. As you know, with my flat cat, fat cat card game. Yeah. There was one bit. Oh, that was it. So the Ghost of Christmas. What is it? Oh yeah. Oh, the second. The Ghost of Christmas Present takes Scrooge. To Bob Cratchit, where they all, sing and they all, praise. Well, they try to toast Scrooge, but, the wife's having none of it and all of that. But after that, it's a bleak and desolate moor, a place where miners live, who labour in the bowels of the earth. There's a hut with a light shining out. Inside, a cheerful company assembled round a glowing fire. An old man and woman with their children and their children's children, and another generation beyond that, all decked out in their holiday attire. The old man sings a Christmas song, the rest join in the chorus. Then there's a new location, a solitary lighthouse, some league or two from the shore. Two men who watched the light had made a fire, wished each other a Merry Christmas. Then there's a new location, a ship. They stood beside the helmans of the wheel. They the lookout in the bow. The officers who had the watch, dark ghostly figures in their several stations, but every man among them hummed a Christmas tune, or had a Christmas thought, or spoke below his breath to his companion of some bygone Christmas day, with homeward hopes belonging to it. And then you go to the nephew's house, where they're making fun of Scrooge. But that sort of compilation of new locations, I think is really important, because what is showing there is two things: that you can have a universal thing of wishing someone a Merry Christmas And so it's a shared experience across different locations, across different cultures, different people. Not necessarily different cultures, but anyway, different people. Because it's a Christian celebration, isn't it? But look at the harsh conditions that these people are in, and yet, despite that, they're wishing their fellow person a Merry Christmas. And that, to me, is really important, because Scrooge, and that ties in with Scrooge's nephew, Fred, saying, what business have you got to be miserable at Christmas? You're rich enough. Because Scrooge measures things by money. So if he's wealthy, he should be happy. Do you see what I mean? So it's basically saying, yeah, despite all their problems and their horrible conditions they're in, they're still being optimistic and hopeful. And to me, that's really important. So again, I'm going to put stuff like that in. You know, the little things that may get overlooked when they do a film adaptation. Although some films do put that in and some don't. Yeah, and then you've got the charwoman, the laundress, the undertaker that have stolen Scrooge's stuff and they're selling it to the pawnbroker. So there's lots of characters in there that you don't really realise. So I'm going to have enough character cards, I believe, to sort of make that work, that little mechanism there. So there you go. There you go. So that is what I've been working on. So I'll probably be working on that today. But I've just got to see where my mood takes me. Because if I do feel like writing The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye, even though I feel like I'm going to start on Monday, I might just write a couple of entries just to get into it today. So there we go. So yeah, I really want to get the Christmas Carol board game, you know, up and running and play tested in the next couple of months, basically. And I'm going to sneeze. Welcome to the world's loudest sneeze. That was me on low level. That's nothing. So my plan for board games is to pitch again at the UK Games Expo. Now I've managed to be selected for 2 years in a row now, which is very good, to pitch games to publishers. So on retrospect, no wonder I loved the Christmas film Ghostbusters 2 so much. It shows that even when faced with the end of the world, the right thing to do on Christmas and New Year's Eve is to be kind to each other and sing Kumbaya together, Kumbaya, against the darkness as one. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Have hope. Uplifting films always have hope, or uplifting stories always have hope. Lord of the Rings is, for me, the obvious example. Where, was it Frodo? No, is it Pippin? Who's the one that pledges himself to the army? And he says to Frodo, you know, he says to Gandalf, I can't remember the exact quote on that, but it's like basically, we haven't got any hope. And Gandalf goes, no, there's always hope. You know, like, while we're alive, there's hope, or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really good. So what I want to do is games that I'm going to submit. So the submission opens the 1st of March. Is probably my Flat Cat, Fat Cat. Yeah. Also the Wonky Wand. Also a Christmas Carol. And maybe my B game, although I did submit that last time and nobody selected that. But I might select it again because it might be a different publisher. They might be interested in that. So hopefully out of those 4, I'll get at least one of them that will want to be seen. Monkey Freak. Hello, Monkey Freak. You are trying to persuade people to view a link. I wouldn't recommend anybody clicking that link because I don't know what it is. But you are more than welcome, Monkey Freak. Even if you are a bot. So, yeah. So hopefully I'll be entering 4 board games. But it does mean that I have to turn this all my notes into an actual playable game. And the criteria is that you need to have got the prototype, got all the rules, and play tested it. Now, it doesn't say how many times you have to play test it, but I do want to play test it. So there's a point where I think, yeah, this is there or thereabouts. Because what I've found, with my 2 previous games is, although you pitch it, they, publishers do kind of want to develop it a little bit and change bits here and there. So if you get a game that you feel's pitch ready, you've play tested it a good number of times, you personally are not going to change anything else, then be prepared for the publisher to change it a little bit more. Then it's worth pitching at that point. The other good news about Guildlands is it's made Tom Vassal's top 10 list of different games of 2025, and spoilers, because I'm showing off, number 1. He picked it as his number 1 game of 2025 that did something different. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Cheers. And what I will say is, being creative, as you all know, if you are creative, and we do have creative people in the audience watching, that, or listening probably, that you do have to have hope as a creative person. Because being creative can be a pleasure and a curse as well, because you got this idea and you want to, and then putting it out there, finishing something can take a while, it's a struggle, it's all that. So, and then you sort of go, why am I doing this? Who's going to see this? Who's going to read it? Who's going to play it? Who's going to watch it? It's like, is anyone bothered? Is anyone interested? There's all that goes through your mind. So you just got to have hope that putting all this time and effort into projects does have some sort of payoff. But you have to kind of work out what that payoff is. What do you consider success? It could just be that you finish the project and that's it, and you kind of go, yeah, I'm happy, look at me, I did that, and now I'm going to write another one or design another board game. And I think with creativity, like anything, you just get better the more you do it. So you don't have to worry too much that it's going to get published, or it's going to get played, or it's going to get read, or whatever. Just keep doing them, because you'll get better. Every time you do something, you'll get better. And I call that planting the seeds. And this is what I've been doing over the last 10 years now. And it's only in the last X amount of years that little shoots have started to crop up. But I'm sorry, fellas, for being such a downer today. I really am. But some days I feel if I don't pour what good is left out inside, who knows if I'll get another chance. Liren, no worries, mate. Seriously, if it helps you, then I'm sure everybody's fine with it. I'm fine with it. I would say that it's not necessarily a downer. You're just expressing what's in you, and it's of a more serious nature, than me just buffooning around. And I'm just happy that you feel like this is a place where you can write that sort of stuff, and get it off your chest. Yeah, there you go. So let's put you not being a downer at all. No, you're just bringing in a serious, conversation. And luckily, despite me being a buffoon, I can have serious conversations. I've got the wisdom of Gandalf. Agreed, Sally, says Spelsing. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you made some really cool points, and they were, serious points. And I think that is a very good wider question. What are books for? What are books for? What are films for? What are board games for? What's music for? What's creativity for? And it's a lot of things. And one of the things, though, is escapism. It's escapism. I love reading because it's a good escapism for me. I love playing tabletop games because I enjoy the camaraderie, the friendship that goes along with that. Plus solving a puzzle. Mentally it's good, You know, why do I like reading these out live stream? Because, you know, we've got a communication going. We have a laugh. We have fun. It's entertainment. Why did they like writing these? You know, yes, money. You know, that is a motive. But it can't just be money, because these are, you can tell there's a lot of love that goes into these. You know, and just ask Jonathan. He, you know, you don't live like a king unless you're massively successful. You know, even though I've had 2 board games published, I can't retire off of that. You know, it helps, but it's just nice when people, you know, comment and, you know, and say, "Oh, I played your game. I really enjoyed it." You know, that's nice. That's just a lovely, warm feeling. So yeah, it's good to talk seriously, you know, at points. So there we are. So thank you for watching. We've been on air now for 1 hour and 5. I'll just show you the metal plate again. And yeah, so that's really cool. So I have the bookmarks. I've got the metal plates. These are fantastic. Very pleased with those. I am now waiting for the dice, and they're being custom made by a friend of mine. And then I'm also waiting for the badge, the little enamel badge. I don't think I want to spoil that. I just want those to be discovered when you see them. And I think that's it for the rewards, isn't it? That's rather cool. Oh, did you not see it, Jonathan? Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. It's really cool. So you can hang it up. And they've given you screws here, or picture hook. They've given you screws. Yeah, they've given you 2 nails and a picture hook, and you put it up. But yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Really cool. So very pleased with these. When I saw that you could custom make your own, I instantly thought, yeah, these are really cool rewards. So what I might do is I might offer these for sale on my website. So if anyone is interested that didn't back that reward level, I might just offer these for sale. They are quite pricey though. They are quite pricey, but I will probably do them different sizes because the company offers different sizes. But I'll probably just do them at roughly cost price because they are pricey. But they're worth it. They're worth it. Obviously, I'm going to say that. So there we go. So I can see this is a fantasy diner where an orc and a Viking have a toast to a giant bee mead over a mammoth steak. Yeah, there you go. The Fantasy Inn. Cheers, Ken. Appreciate your time as always. Well, thank you. Exactly. It's a place where all sorts can come and gather and feast on the meat of creativity and laughter. I don't know what that means, to be honest. Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Next stop is this Wednesday. We're going to do part 1. It's a brand new sorcery book. It's book 2, Nair, City Port of Traps. We'll be carrying over our character. 7 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much. So thank you, Martha, for watching. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Spelsing. Thank you, Lyrian. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Oh, I'm even going to thank the bot. Thank you, Monkey Feck. Oh, Monkey Feck. I thought it was Monkey Freak. I think I prefer Monkey Freak. And thank you all that have watched that haven't commented. You're more than welcome. Your metal print, I mean. Oh, I see. In a fancy diner. Oh, I see. I see what you mean. You're hanging it on there. Yes. Weirdly enough, that was what I was going for. Because I love seeing these around. You know, when you go to old places or even... And they're slightly battered, they're corroded. And it does remind me when I went to America, actually. You know, this was a thing. So I kind of wanted that feeling. But yeah, you could see that hanging on a fantasy diner. Or a fancy pub, fancy inn. I get what you mean now, Levin. Yeah, absolutely. In a fancy diner on a highway of Pegasus. We'll be there. Yes, nice one, everybody. Take care. Thank you, Grockle Snooker. He's still awake. Until next time. May your thieving never be caught. Nice one, Lerin. Take care.